Come on, Steve.
Bunsen.
Burner.
Dolly.
Machine.
Internal.
Combustion.
Why do we need
Steam.
Petri?
Dishes.
Oscar.
Brain.
Isaac.
Newton.
Transplanting.
Hello everyone, welcome to a new podcast with me, Stephen Lee, and with Nick Evans.
Hello, how you doing, guys? You all right out there?
Yeah, so this is our first podcast. So this really is about the making of a podcast. This is our first attempt at doing it and deciding what our podcast is going to be. You got any ideas, Nick?
I think it's going to be fairly loose and freestyle with an edge of shambolicness around the edges. Does that make sense?
And some science on top, sprinkled on top.
What's science, Steve?
It's a very good question, Nick. So we're both scientists.
What is science?
What is? Well, I don't know. What is science? What do you think science is? What is science to you?
Oh, it's a source of income.
That's right. A poor source of income.
Sorry, I'm interrupting your flow, Steve.
No, not at all.
What are you saying?
So, you made me lose my train of thought there. So this is it's a new podcast. We're both scientists and academics. We both work in universities and we do scientific research. I'm a chemist. Nick here's a biologist, and our goal here is really to have a bit of a chat in a kind of relaxed way, and try and do a bit of scientific engagement. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, that sounds like pretty much exactly what I was thinking.
Fantastic. Right, so maybe I should introduce myself first. My name's Stephen Lee. I'm a physical chemist. I work at the University of Cambridge. And the research in my lab is focusing on building microscopes to address biological problems. How about you?
So basically you're a microscope engineer, Steve.
Microscope Monkey, yeah.
You're flunky monkey.
Microscope Monkey, I like
Yeah.
that. So, yeah, Steve the Chemist, Microscope Monkey. Great. Maybe I should get that on a card, a business card, should say Microscope
I thought
Monkey.
you already had.
I don't have a card. Do you have a card?
I've got a card. I think I might have one in my back pocket.
Really? Can I
actually.
have it? Can I have your card?
You can
Can it
have
be
my
like that
card.
scene in American Psycho? At the moment, it doesn't. You don't look like Christian Bale.
There you go, dude. Look, it's
Oh,
out
wow.
of date. I was saying.
Wow. So it says lecturer in bioengineering. Well, you've just been promoted, haven't you, Nick?
Well, it was a while ago now.
Well, you haven't updated your card.
Now I'm Science Cowboy. That's my official
Science
title.
Cowboy. So Microscope Monkey and Science Cowboy.
Exactly. Yeah. It's great, isn't it?
Maybe that could be the name of the podcast.
No, that would be crap.
I like that.
So I'm different. I'm what's called I would have been a senior lecturer, but they've changed all of the names. So now I'm an associate professor, which is what I tell people when I go on an aeroplane these days.
Professor.
Yeah, because I reckon that they might give me a better seat.
And also, if someone says, "Is there a doctor in the house?" Right, when you're a professor, you don't have to worry about that. Whereas, I am, so I kind of have to I have that worry that they might look down the passenger list.
Yeah, but maybe they want a microscope.
They're
Requesting a doctor specifically because they're on the plane
and
they're going away on holiday and they think I need to look at some small stuff.
I need to directly
now
visualize
and
biology.
Exactly, and so if you would that would be your forte.
If that happens, I've got their back.
Totally nailed it. If that happens, that's great. Yeah, but I'm a biologist, so I don't do any physical labour like Steve. Steve's a physical chemist. He's good at heavy lifting.
That doesn't mean you're good at
beating
heavy
people
lifting.
up.
No, it doesn't. It means that
a really big beard at the moment as well. It's putting me off. It's a massive beard. He never used to have a big beard, and he's recently moved to London part time, and he's had one of these trendy Shoreditch type sort of haircut type things.
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, and I'm in here shambolic.
Really, covered in paint.
Yeah, so Steve came down from London today.
That's right.
And came to my house. This is where we're actually recording from as we speak.
Very exciting.
We're in Palace Evans in sunny Southampton.
It's very palatial.
Absolutely, yeah. So, but yeah, he's definitely moved on in the world, and I'm a shambolic scientist here in Southampton.
You just said you're a professor.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean anything, Steve.
You've moved on in the world.
Both know that. Come on. Okay. Are you dreaming of being an associate professor?
Well, I think this is all getting a little bit. Why don't we? Yeah, I'm not dreaming of being an associate professor. No, we don't have that in Cambridge.
Don't you?
No, we don't have that system.
Well,
they do in Oxford.
You have chief magician.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you all wear
wizard.
You all
wizard
wear,
first class.
You all wear wizard capes.
Wizard capes.
And you wizard around.
That's right. Wizard dinners.
Yeah.
Wizard
I, of course,
lectures.
visited you in Cambridge as well.
You did, yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I did really enjoy it, yeah. So it's a very different academic life in Cambridge, I think, to in Southampton.
How so?
Well, you seem to be part of these colleges.
That's right, yeah.
And we don't have those in Southampton. We go into sort of anonymous concrete buildings and do our work, and you seem to do your work in like churches and things. They look like churches.
They do look like. They all have chapels generally, but that's not where we actually do our work. If you're a scientist, you still go into a big ugly concrete building, but sometimes you get to go for dinner in nice old buildings, which is a fantastic privilege and a pleasure. So I'm very lucky to be a part of that.
Yeah, but then don't you have to do weird handshakes?
Well, there's obviously there's the weird handshakes.
And when I was there, they were all speaking Latin as well. And an old man, came out with a gong.
That's right.
And he rang a gong.
Yeah, this is
and
true.
then all of these students came in, and they all looked like people on University Challenge. You know the slightly twitchy, strange ones on University Challenge?
Yeah, all a little bit underweight, yeah.
Yeah. There were a few normal ones there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what they'll become. But then there was a strange mixture. But anyway, yeah, they ring a gong and you speak in Latin. We don't have that in Southampton.
You don't speak in Latin. You probably spend some time speaking in Latin as a biologist. It's probably there's bits of Latin flying about.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, I suppose a lot of species names originate from the Latin. Yeah, the nomenclature is Latin. But yeah, so. Yeah, I'd probably be a better biologist than if I was in Cambridge, because I'd just be speaking it all the time.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe we should do a Latin podcast. We'd increase our audience by, I don't know, two.
Exactly. Both of them would enjoy it. Yeah, maybe we could. We'd obviously both have to learn Latin first. But other than that, I don't see a problem in your plan.
Yeah.
Well, this really is an idea, I think, this is our first podcast, so we're really trying to work out exactly what it's going to be and what we're going to talk about.
It is, and there's two ways that we can do it, and maybe people can say what they like and what they don't like.
That's right.
I mean, I think just an irreverent chinwag about what it's like to be a scientist working at university.
I agree.
Because we've been, to any of you budding scientists out there, the career path usually is PhD. You do a PhD after your degree for 3 or 4 years in the UK, longer if you're in America. And then you work as something called a postdoc. That's when Steve and I met, when we were postdocs in America.
That's right.
Living the dream in California. We both got into surfing. I got into bodybuilding.
That's right.
I was in the movies.
Developed a heroin addiction.
I was in X-Men. Yeah, that's what happened to me. No, I went and worked in a lab Steve worked in a lab in the dark, actually.
That's true.
That's why he was so pale and unhealthy when I met him.
That's true.
Now he's got
still
a beard.
pale.
Now he's got a beard, though.
Still pale, though.
He's hiding it with his beard. But yeah, so we met there, and then if you're lucky, after you've done a postdoc, you can apply to have a proper job. So when you're a postdoc, you're working for on a fixed term contract for 2 or 3 years. So it's like being a general temp. You're kind of a temp. Yeah.
People think academia is this kind of cushy lifestyle that you were alluding to, but actually it's quite stressful in some ways because you don't get employed, you don't have a full-term contract.
Steve, look at us, we're broken men.
It's true.
We were discussing this the other day.
What's wrong?
It's the stress.
The stress.
It's got to us.
That's true. It's all right, there's alcohol, we can pour that on top.
Is that what it is? Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it wasn't the stress.
No, there's the stress, but we pour alcohol on it.
Oh, do we?
To make...
See, I didn't even know what we're talking about. I'm that confused. Anyway, so then you get proper... So Steve and me and Steve and I, we've got proper jobs now. So I'm a member of the academic staff, and Steve is a Royal Society Fellow.
That's right. Which means I just don't have to teach, which I'm very lucky about. So my lab and I just do research.
But I like teaching.
Do you?
I like teaching, yeah, it's good fun.
I enjoy it, but it's fantastic to have the option to not have to teach.
Of course.
What's annoying Nick?
So what we were saying was we're going to talk a bit about what it's like to be an academic. Or we can also talk about about interesting things.
Can't we throw in some obscure references to popular culture? That's what I was looking forward to.
Yeah, I think you already have, haven't you?
Right, maybe.
Yeah, I mentioned X-Men.
We could talk about movies, like the scientific accuracy of movies, or things that annoy you.
Things that annoy me. I'll tell you what movie annoyed me recently.
Really, what's that?
And I know what you're going to say. It's going to irritate me. So I watched a film not so long ago
Stop
called...
building up the suspense. What film was it?
It was called The Martian.
The Martian.
And I know, I can already tell...
By Andy Weir.
I don't know who the hell
It
it
is,
is. That
yeah.
bloke, what's he called?
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon! You know, the
And Ridley
dude-
Scott, yeah. It's based on a book by Andy Weir. It's an excellent book.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I've not read the book. I've not had the benefit of reading the book. But the film it's long. It goes on and on and on. And it's kind of quite far-fetched.
Well, for anyone that hasn't seen The Martian or knows about it.
Well, I won't. I'll tell you what. Let's avoid doing spoilers because people might not have seen the film yet. But I'm going to slag it off.
Okay.
Is that all right, Steve?
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's kind of like it tries to be. It's trying its best to be scientifically accurate.
Right.
And it's kind of like appealing to your... Oh, how am I going to say this? But hey, I'm a scientist. You know, it's like the new geek cool.
Right.
It's like appealing to the new geek cool.
So
the
Brian
people
Coxes of this world.
I wouldn't even say the Brian Coxes of this world. That's like the wannabe Brian Coxes of this world.
Oh, so like the kind of like a Silicon Valley startup
Hey,
culture.
yeah, well, yeah. That's sort of... And it's kind of like, it plays on the scientific accuracy, and there's all that stuff about the different... You know, they find that satellite. What's the satellite called? That they found?
one?
They dig it out of a hole. He drives all night.
the power thing.
I can't remember what it is.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
some
the power-
satellite. They said. But anyway, so the film plays on the fact that it's scientifically accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what the whole point of the film is. But ultimately, it's just a load of far-fetched nonsense.
So do you want me to throw some bits in here?
Throw some bits back at me, Steve.
So the book originally. So I have seen the film once, but I read the book twice. The book's by a gentleman called Andy Weir, who was a software engineer, just like working in the job he didn't like very much. And he started writing a blog about a man that got left behind on Mars, and people started reading it, and people started making comments about it. And then people asked it, well, can we have a PDF of it? Can we? And he started kind of going away and trying to PDFing his blog and kind of trying to going back to make it scientific accurately.
So he was like this was like a thing that he was freestyling.
He was just
and
doing
people
it in his
were
evening.
and people were kind of giving him feedback.
They're saying that wouldn't work, you know, so you have to
right.
think about orbital dynamics and things like that. So he had to write. So it's interesting. You chat to him now, and they write kind of software to do orbital dynamics. There's not actually, you don't just solve the equations. And actually, since going on having done this, because he couldn't work out the equations on how to work out about the orbit of Mars and Earth and their relative positions, he just wrote it in computer code. And that's actually how NASA does it. They apparently that's how they do it. Anyway, he had this kind of story. And he said he wanted to put it on Amazon, and unfortunately, in Amazon you have to pay to have something on your Kindle. So he did this. So he published it for free on his website, or he said for $1, which was the cheapest, the smallest amount of money you can charge on Amazon, that you can have Amazon put that story on your Kindle. And then after that, everyone started reading it, and then it got into the top 10 of the the.
So hang a minute. So now it's a book.
So now it's a book. He'd finished it.
So it's not a bunch of PDFs. It's a full-on book.
It's a full-on book
with a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
Is Matt Damon in it?
Matt Damon? No Matt Damon
So he
at all.
didn't have Matt Damon in it.
Matt Damon wasn't
How
cast.
did it work? It must
What,
have been
without
boring without Matt Damon.
Who would you know? When you were watching it, were you thinking you could do this?
No.
No?
I was thinking, I'm glad I'm not him.
Right.
And I was thinking, I'd never have thought to do that. And I think I would have just given up.
Really? You'd have just drunk all of the booze, ate all the food, had one big blowout, and then just walked out into the empty void of the Martian atmosphere. Is that what you would have done?
Was there booze? I didn't know there was booze.
There must have been booze. I reckon there was booze.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
Because there was potatoes.
Then yeah, that's what I would have done. Yeah.
But I think it's yeah, and then after that,
I didn't know that. That makes it more interesting.
yeah, and so Ridley Scott and then Matt Damon kind of got involved with that. And actually, Andy Weir now, who actually, if you can, he's done quite a lot of interviews. For instance, they make up a unit in that called the Science Ninja, which is kilowatts per soul, I think, which is the kind of unit, because he gets bored of saying kilowatts per soul, so he invents...
Kilowatts per soul?
Soul. Yeah. So he invents a unit, and now, actually, if you go through and do the analysis, watts, this is to joule per second, so really all it is watts. It's a joule per second.
Oh, right, yeah, but it's just over the course of a day or
exactly.
a second.
But now, NASA have actually adopted Not pirate ninjas. They use millipirate ninjas.
God,
So isn't it beautiful?
I hate those wankers.
No, it's great.
Oh no, they've come up with some stupid term.
No, they actually use it in the Martian program. They use now. They use the voltage difference. So it's millipirate
It's like
ninjas.
it reminds me of all of the these genes in biology. There's lots of genes that they discovered in Drosophila, and they're all named after things that happens when the genes go wrong.
Like Sonic Hedgehog.
There's like hairless and all kinds of weird things. And there's one of them was called Hedgehog because the fly looks sort of spiky. And then I think they were doing the work in a mouse, and the genes in lower animals like insects are often that you can find them in bigger animals like us, for instance, as well.
Called homologs, aren't they?
Exactly, yeah. I think so. There's another word called orthologs as well, but I can't remember the distinction. I should know that.
I would definitely ask you if I didn't want.
I wish I knew. I should look at Wikipedia.
You should really practice before you show up.
Oh God, this always happens to me. Oh, I'm a biologist.
Therefore, you have to know everything about biology.
I hate physical scientists. Anyway, yeah, but when they discovered it in the mouse, it's the same gene. It's the homologous gene, and they called it Sonic Hedgehog.
Right.
So I was playing the Nintendo and I wanted to.
I mean, isn't that nice?
Oh no, cool.
But come on.
It's kind of nice, but it makes me cringe. I don't know why. I think it's because I've there's a lot of hate in my body.
That's true. I can vouch for that hate. I can feel the hate a little bit now.
No,
but don't you think it's nice when art imitates science? So, for instance, when we do make a kind of virtual reality, I think it will be called the holodeck. If we do invent faster than light travel, it will be called warp drive.
Yeah, but we don't call Skype. I mean, whatever they called it in Star Trek.
We don't call.
I mean, they had video. I don't know what they called. Like when they had a picture of a face on a screen, and you could talk.
So video
to
conferencing.
It wasn't called video conferencing.
No, but that's what you mean. That's what you.
Yeah, but it was called called Skype now, don't they?
They do.
Unless you want to be formal about it and you call it video conferencing.
Yeah.
Or you call it like some other thing.
That's true. So, but don't you like? It doesn't necessarily mean that everything in art has to be translated to real science. But isn't it nice when? I mean,
yeah, I know what you.
You're just being a curmudgeon. You like it.
Well,
really.
I am a curmudgeon.
I know.
What can I do about that? That's just the way I am.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was talking about the Martian, and I tell you the reason that I thought it was inferior because there's another film called Apollo 13. Right?
It's very similar to Apollo 13, isn't it?
It's very similar, but Apollo 13 is vastly superior
because it's directed by Richie Cunningham. That's why.
What, from Happy Days?
Yeah, exactly.
I never knew.
You didn't know Ron Howard directed Apollo 13?
I thought it was the Fonz.
Nuh-uh.
I thought it was the Fonz.
Wrinkler. No. It's Ron Howard.
Oh wow. Well, there you go. Eh? So what did the Fonz direct?
I don't know. I don't think he's directed anything.
Oh, I think maybe Star Trek.
No,
movie.
The first Star Trek.
No, Star Trek 6. The Undiscovered Country.
Oh, maybe.
That was Fonz.
Wow, the guys from Happy Days have done pretty well out of themselves, haven't they? You wouldn't think, looking back, that those people
actually, Steve, thinking about it, it might not have been the Fonz who did Star Trek 6. But I didn't know it was Richie Cunningham anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point about that film was Apollo 13 was a really nice self-contained film. It was realistic because it happened, obviously. It's probably a bit embellished. But it was a great story and it had a good ending and it didn't go on for like 3 bloody hours. And it was a little bit more.
I agree. I think Apollo 13 is better.
And I
would say the book in the Martian in the book is actually, you should read it because it's very good.
Well, maybe I can read it and then I can give you my opinions.
Maybe we could do another podcast after you've read it and maybe withdrawn all of your previous hate from the Martian.
Anyway,
what I would say, just to finish on the Martian, is that quite a lot of the point of the book is it's kind of his relative isolation. And so it gets quite boring, but that's supposed to imitate the mood of the character.
No, but come on, hang on a minute. There's so many other films that have done isolation better.
Give me an example.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying this is an amazing film, but I quite like it. Castaway with Tom Hanks when he's on that island.
That's very good, yeah.
God, is this a Tom Hanks thing?
Maybe have you got a thing for Tom Hanks? Maybe.
There's another one, a brilliant film by Zowie Bowie. I can't remember his real name. Moon.
Yeah.
That was but that's more of a psychological. It could have been anywhere, really.
It didn't have to
be on the moon. But that was an examination of what. And it's the same thing. I mean, Robinson Crusoe, arguably the first novel ever written. Robinson Crusoe.
We're getting quite erudite now, aren't we?
Well, I'm an erudite guy. Maybe I'm pretending, though. There's probably someone who'll... Because we're doing this in front of an audience. I can't con you anymore, can I?
That's true. There's people that can fact checks in seconds just by Googling.
Anyway, there you go.
that was a bit about the Martian. I like that.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things we want to do with this podcast is to kind of open this up to social media. So I think if anyone has any questions about any scientific questions in general, or if they have, particularly if they're silly, we're looking for silly scientific questions.
They don't have to be silly.
Really?
They can be really serious, and then we'll just demean them with silliness.
Okay. So if they're serious, we'll make them silly, and vice versa.
If they're silly, we'll make them
serious.
very serious. And
Okay,
very boring.
really
Keep that in
boring.
mind. Don't be silly.
Yeah. So
Don't be silly.
You can tweet them to me on Twitter. So I'm at Steve the Chemist.
And I'm at the Evans Lab.
Right. Yeah. So I think if you have any questions for us, please tweet them to us, and
Tweet
we'll do our best to answer.
Great, and that's ending the first part of our podcast.
Do you
today.
enjoy it?
Oh, I did. I really enjoyed it.
Very well. Can we have a beer now?
Why not?
I think it's time.
I've only got one though.
We're gonna have to go to the shop.
Because I was doing the garden this morning.
You had a beer in the garden on your own.
Yeah, I was trying to set up this new kind of water concentration device for my garden.
Because
Because it's quite dry in Southampton. Well, it's come from that film, The Martian.
Right. We should.
Because you never know when bad things might happen.
That's true.
Anyway,
Right.
let's go and get beer, Steve.
Cheers. Thanks very much.
Hello, Steve.
Hello, Nick.
We're back. We've just been out to get some beers actually.
We
so,
Did you miss us? Hopefully.
Oh, you're asking them.
I'm
Sorry.
asking
not me.
the
Sorry.
listeners.
So I thought for a second you were talking to me then, asking whether I'd missed you.
No.
I do miss you though.
Thanks. It's
Yeah,
good to
when
see
we
you
were
again.
apart. Yeah, it's good to see you too. Yeah, we just went out to get some beer. So Steve's visiting from Cambridge. Steve's a scientist in Cambridge. I'm working in Southampton. Steve's come down to do this podcast today. So we went out and we got a few beers for tonight. I think we'll go for curry or something.
That sounds great.
Scientists go for beers and curry.
Well, I think it's talking about science and drinking beers are two of my most favourite things to do.
That's great. Steve, are scientists normal?
How did you find normal, Nick?
Well, that's a whole other question, isn't it?
Well, it's integral to yours.
I think that you can probably objectively say that normality means something to most people. So I mean normal as in like...
Are you asking are there common
weird.
traits that scientists
Are we
has
weird?
which-
Are we weird?
I think we are, yeah.
I don't think I'm weird.
I think you're weird.
Why do you think I'm weird?
No, I think if you're asking, is there certain traits that are more common in the scientific community than to the population as a whole, I think the answer to that is yes.
You think they're weird? I tell you what.
Yeah.
I mean no offence to my colleagues at the University of Southampton, but I think there's a higher proportion. I think there's a higher proportion of weird people working for the university than I see in my sort of normal life outside of the university.
So what is it specifically that makes you think that scientists are weird?
Personality problems that they have.
Personality, for instance?
Well, I don't know. Some of them are just a little bit. You can get some really balanced, socially, adequate scientists who are able to hold a conversation, look you in the eye, things like that. But more often than not, you don't get that.
So you're saying their emotional intelligence is low? Their EQ, I believe the.
I didn't know
psychologist
there
called.
was an EQ.
Yeah.
So their IQ might be reasonably high, although in many cases, in my experience, not really. But their emotional ability, it can be sometimes rather limited.
I like to postulate a third Q. I want to do the HQ, which is the
That's where you...
the handshaking quotient. I think scientists have particularly poor handshaking skills. I think that's quite important in life.
Shake my hand, Steve. See, I think that's a good handshake. I'm happy with that.
We just shook hands, by the way.
We did. And I'm happy with that handshake. I think you have there was a slight too much pressure there, which maybe illustrated a little bit of insecurity somewhere in the background, so you had to squeeze my hand harder than otherwise necessary.
Well, me personally, if I have to pick that level, I'd rather go slightly too hard than too weak. You don't want a weak handshake.
I actually agree with you. Now, I've got a separate question. It's not totally related to science, really. If you're shaking a female colleague's hand or someone in a meeting, do you moderate your handshake for a female colleague?
I'd like to think no, but I don't have any data. We should set that up.
You want to do some data collection?
Well, I would like to
a
think
pressure sensor.
Well, I don't know because
Would you? But would you? So, would you? How would you do the ethics for that? Would you? Would the person know?
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't be able to know.
No, because then they would. No, you couldn't. You'd have to get them in under a separate guise. But then they'd notice you'd have a little pressure sensor in your hands.
Anyway, yeah, but it's a good idea. We should do it. Okay, Steve, you can do the ethics. I'll do the experiment.
Well, maybe we should talk about ethics.
I haven't finished talking about handshakes.
Oh, sorry.
yet.
Okay.
I was going to say that until quite recently, I would give a female colleague more of a wet, limpy handshake.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe like an inbuilt sort of slight sexism.
Right.
I don't know.
You think you're deep down you're a sexist?
I don't know. I like to think that I'm not, but I'm open I'm open to feedback. But my girlfriend, my partner, had a strong word with me about it, and now I do the whole firm handshake thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I feel much better about myself.
Good.
I've been doing it wrong for ages.
So how did she broach that subject?
She just told me I was a dickhead.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Right.
And so then I've decided that I've changed it now. So now I'm doing the whole firm handshake, look in the eyes thing. I'm not crushing their
of
hands.
gender.
I did hear a crack once, but I think it was my knuckle.
Well, good. There we go.
Yeah, but going back to the original question, I do think that scientists, they can't. Sometimes they don't look you in the eye.
I think there's definitely a higher proportion of that than in the general population. I think that's true. I don't think, to be honest, programs like what's that program that does the physicists in that's on E4?
I don't know.
You do, the one that's got that annoying.
Not the one about the
Big Bang Theory. That's it.
Right.
I don't think things like that help with social stereotypes, assuming that all scientists are, physically malcoordinated and non-physical anyway.
I'm drawing the line here as well, actually, because I think more often than not, scientists at more junior levels, PhD students and postdocs, they're more normal than the full-on academics.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we're full-on academics.
We are, so we're weird.
No, I'm normal.
No, but within that spectrum, you're normal, but you're not normal.
Oh, right. Oh!
You're not.
You reversed it.
I
So
really
basically, hang on a minute.
We're as good as it gets.
So we're kind of normal-ish in the general scheme of things, but within our colleagues, we're
like
weird
super.
because we're normal.
Exactly.
Whoa, that's messing
Blown
with my
up.
brain.
If you listen very quietly, listeners, you can actually hear Nick's mind being blown.
No, that's just I've got a problem with my guts at the moment. I had a few too many drinks.
Fart jokes. Is that where we're going?
Pie.
Is that where we're going? Fart
no,
jokes.
we're not going on to fart jokes. You said you could hear a noise, and I'm assuring you it's not my brain. It's my alimentary canal. Anyway, yeah, we'll move on from that. Unless do you want to talk more about? No, we don't want to talk about my alimentary canal.
No.
So I think that in the more junior echelons of scientists, they tend to be more normal, and it's when people get promoted to full positions that you tend to get the.
And do you think it continues going on? So would full professors be even more normal? I mean, I was actually talking about this with a friend of mine this morning. So academia is weird in the sense that people, once you get a job, generally it's kind of for life. People get academic tenure and they don't generally leave a position.
Is that right?
I think generally that's true. And people move around within universities, but generally people don't. For instance, if you were just in the private sector, it's actually quite a healthy thing for a company to exchange all of its workforce to be there for a while and to move on. Ideas can change. Cultures can change more quickly because of that. And I think it's interesting because in academia, because nothing changes, the people that got the job in the 70s, they were like the most liberal-minded. I mean, generally you find that, I think, would be a fair assumption in that the academics are quite liberal. But they were the most radical thinkers of their time in the 70s. And now when you apply the kind of zeitgeist of 2016, sorry.
Sorry, I interrupted Steve. He was
on a diatribe
sort of banging his hands on the table. When he gets excited, he kind of bangs his elbows and hands on surfaces.
I do.
Yeah.
Can't help
Have you noticed it? People have told you before.
No, but
it's a thing you have, Steve.
Really? I'm sorry.
Anyway, you were talking about the liberal-minded academics.
I think we moved on now.
Thank God for that. Yeah, but they are. I think that I mean, are you saying that I've got a job for life, Steve?
Pretty much, yeah.
Have you got the authority to say that? Does
Does
that mean I can
I'm not
just
the
slack
provost
off?
of Southampton University. Yeah, pretty much. You can just retire, get your head down, wait for retirement now. I think that's pretty much your plan, right?
Wicked. Okay. Good. Oh well, that's me done. I'm off to go and do something else.
TheScienceShed! We're in the ScienceShed! TheScienceShed! We're in the ScienceShed! Come on, Steve.
Bunsen,
Burner!
Dolly,
Machine!
internal.
Combustion!
Why do we need
Steam!
Petri,
Dishes!
Oscar,
Base!
Isaac,
Newton!
transplanting?
Hello everybody, it's Steve here. That's the end of our first podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to hear more, please subscribe on SoundCloud with The Science Shed and also on iTunes. And that's all for now. Bye.